Welcome back. We have almost completed the financial measures for performance. So let us discuss about the second category for measuring the performance, that is non-financial performance measures. As the name suggests, here we will be dealing with various methods that will not have a considerable importance on the basis of financial matters. In simple terms, we can say mainly concentrated on qualitative factors. Nowadays, many organizations consider non-financial performance important to their basic goal. Actually, non-financial performance leads to financial performance in course of time. Hence, prosperous companies nowadays give much importance to controlling non-financial performance like cycle time, quality, productivity, and many more. We will discuss about that factors in the coming session. It is believed that these sub goals leads to long-term profitability. So let us discuss about various non-financial factors. The concept is that even though it doesn't have importance to financial aspects, non-financial measures will ultimately lead to a financial betterment of the organization. That is a simple concept. So the commonly used non-financial measures are summarized. So let us discuss in each. First one, marketing. Marketing is the first non-financial measure category, and under marketing we will be considering a numerous factors that has to be considered for measuring the non-financial measures of the organization. First one, market share of products. That is a very important one that has to be considered for measuring the performance of the organization. Whoever having higher market share or covering almost the major share of the market will have a good performance. New product development and re-innovation. We all know what is meant by new product development, and re-innovation means re-innovation of existing products. Organization following these two areas means introducing new products and at the same time re-innovating existing products. If the organization is concentrating on these two important vital areas, that means the organization is performing well. Customer satisfaction. We all know what is meant by customer satisfaction, and customer is considered to be the king. So if they are satisfied, we are safe. If they are dissatisfied, we are in grave danger. That is the simple meaning of factor related to customers. And whoever having more customer satisfaction means they are working well. Next one, number of new customers. Just previously we mentioned customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction means the prevailing customers who are satisfied with our services, and that will ultimately create new customers. That is a fact. Whenever our existing customers or potential customers are satisfied, we will get new customers. So whoever having more customer satisfaction will have new customers, and if they are having more new customers, that means they are performing well. Next one, number of product stock outs. Organization having proper stock turnover will have good performance when compared to the other factors. That is a concept that has to be considered in the head marketing. So these are the points that has to be areas that has to be considered for measuring the performance with regard to marketing factor. Try to find more points comes under the same category. Next one, personnel. Personnel means usually the factors comes under this head means usually related to the workers, employees, persons, people within the organization, within or outside the organization. So let us discuss about the various personnel related factors. First one, personnel development. Usually it includes some sorts of training with regards to employees within the organization as well as outside the organization. Productivity and efficiency of employees. It is important for the organization that their existing employees or employees within the organization has to work efficiently. Only through that the organization can succeed. And at the same time, organization must take necessary steps to improve the productivity of the each employees, because productivity and efficiency, these are all directly related, they are correlated. Attitude of the management towards staff welfare. We all know that area, staff welfare with regard to human resource development. Organization must take proper measures and steps for the better welfare of the staff, because only a satisfied staff or satisfied workforce will be efficient for the organization, because they has to be satisfied. So attitude of the management towards staff welfare is an important factor that measures the non-financial performance of the organization. Attitude of the employees towards the organization. Not only the attitude of the management, at the same time attitude of the employees has to be considered. It is an important factor for measuring the performance of the organization with regard to non-financial measures. If the employees are having high morale and loyal to the organization, it means non-financial measure or non-financial performance of the organization is good. Number of grievances filed. Grievances, we all know what is meant by grievances. Grievances means complaints. So number of complaints also is a factor that helps in measuring the performance, because if the organization is receiving more grievances or more complaints, it means somewhere some issues are pertaining within the business. If the grievances or complaints are minimal within the organization, it means the organization is working well. So that is a scale. So that depends upon the organization's actions. Finally, turnover of employees. Simple terms we can say, you should usually say labor turnover like that. It means a frequent change of employees. If the employees are frequently changing their position within the organization or leaving the business, also is a factor that has to be considered, because only a dissatisfied employees usually leave the organization. So leaving the employees from the organization is known as turnover, and turnover of the employees is not a good sign for the concern. So these are the points that has to be considered with regard to personal factors. Personal means with regards to persons. And try to find out more points. We will be going through the main core points regard to the each head. Don't depend only on these points. Try to identify more points. Next one, product quality. With regard to product quality, we can measure the organization's performance. First one, number of customer complaints. As we have discussed previously regarding grievances, it is almost similar to that. In here, we will be discussing about the complaints of the customers. More complaints from customers means the performance of the organization is not good. Less complaints from customers means the organization is working hard for maintaining the performance. Number of return of goods from the customers. That is a factor that has to be considered with regard to performance, because returned goods means goods once sold are returned back or returned by the customers. It may be returned due to the dissatisfaction, or maybe due to issues with the product, likewise may be due to many reasons. And when the number of returned goods of the goods from customers increases, it means somewhere some issues are there in the organization. It may be due to the improper planning or improper production of quality goods, or it may be due to the dissatisfied customers, many factors. Whatever the reason, it may be due to the imperfections within the organization. So if the goods are more sales returns happen within the organization, it means somewhere some issues is persisting within the organization. So we can consider this factor as a tool for measuring the non-financial performance measure. So organization must take necessary steps to minimize the returned goods. Next one, number of defective items manufactured. This is almost similar to the points which we had discussed previously, because when the defective items, the manufacture of defective items increases, number of returned goods also increases. When the customers returns goods more, it means customers are not satisfied, and ultimately we will get many complaints. So number of defective items is an important factor. You may think that it is not relating to the customer or anything, But if the product is not good, or if it has defects, ultimately customers will be dissatisfied. So organization must take necessary steps to maintain the quality of the products. It should take necessary steps to remove all kinds of defective items. Then only customers will be satisfied. Then only we can reduce the sales returns. So this is another point that has to be considered with regard to measuring non-financial performance of the organization. Next one, others means the points that are not coming under the previous three areas. First one, number of transactions processed. Depending upon the transactions also we can measure whether the organization is working well. If the organization is having sufficient transaction with regard to business, it means organization is working well. If the transactions are minimal, it means they are not working effectively. Cycle time. Previously we have mentioned cycle time. So cycle time means the speed with which goods are produced as per the orders and the goods are delivered. That is by cycle time. So if the speed or if the pace is good means if the pace is perfect regarding accepting order and delivering the goods. The simple term, it means if the organization is very fast in accepting as well as delivering the finished product, that is known as cycle time. So cycle time is also a factor that has to be considered regarding measurement of non-financial performance. If the time is shorter, it means organization is working well. If they are taking more time, that means the organization is not working well. Extent of discharge of social responsibility. I hope you all know what is meant by social responsibility. All organizations that work within a society or an economy is indebted to perform their responsibilities, and there are many responsibilities, and one such responsibility category is social responsibility. I hope you all know what is meant by social responsibility, and the extent of discharge of social responsibility is a scale for measuring the performance of the organization. Balance between short-term and long-term loans. We all know what is meant by short-term goals or short-term targets or objectives, and what is meant by long-term. You know what is the difference between short-term and long-term. And the organization must have a proper balance between short-term as well as long-term. We are not going deep into that factor, just understand the concept. So these are the main non-financial measures for measuring performance, and we have discussed many categories, mainly 4 categories, under which we have discussed many scales for measuring non-financial measures. So how you are going to select the method, which method you are going to choose for measuring the performance. There are large number of non-financial performance measures which we have discussed. Before setting up the measurement system, the management must identify the company's critical success factors. Critical success factor means factors that will ultimately have a considerable effect on the performance. That is known as critical success factor. We will discuss that critical success factors in the next sessions. The critical success factors may be product quality, customer satisfaction, manufacturing efficiency and effectiveness, technical excellence, and fast response to market demands. For every critical success factor selected, management should aim at a few characteristic features of non-financial performance measure for continuous improvement. These features should include both short-run as well as long-run measures to properly guide the company's activities. For example, a short-term success indicator for quality can be the number of customer complaints. If the organization is getting minimal complaints, it means the organization is working well. And at the same time, in a long-run success indicator for quality can be the number of patents obtained to upgrade the quality of the company's product. See the difference between the objectives or target goals with regard to short run as well as long run. The ultimate area of interest is quality. In the short run, giving importance to quality means minimal customer complaints. In the long run, with regard to quality means acquiring patents with regards to the new methods of production for improving quality. So that is the difference between decisions or goals with regard to short run as well as long run for targeting one main category. Here in case it was quality. So that is the difference. So whenever the organization is deciding or planning with regards to any of the factors which we have discussed now, the organization must identify what is the point of implementing that factor. In a short run, how it can be achieved. In a long run, how it can be achieved. That is the concept. So selecting a mere factor or a method doesn't mean that organization is working well or not. It is a proper choice of that factor and the target the target that has been aimed under that particular factor. That is the concept that has to be considered while selecting any of the methods. So the non-financial indicators chosen for performance measurement system may be qualitative or quantitative, depends. An example of a qualitative measure can be simple low to high ranking assigned for job skills like knowledge, quality of work, need for supervision, etc. In simple terms, means providing grade depending upon the performance for the employees. However, performance should be compared with a quantitative yardstick. See, we have to consider not only qualitative aspect as well as quantitative. We have to consider both at the same time, because qualitative as well as quantitative both has to be considered for the ultimate betterment of the organization. So these are the main factors that have to be considered under non-financial measures, and when compared to financial measures, we need financial measures as well as non-financial measures for measuring and improving the performance of the organization. And it is up to the organization who has to maintain the balance between these measures. So let us discuss about the further cases in the next session. And remember, don't always depend upon only the points which we have discussed here. Try to identify more points and add to your study, because we can only go through the glimpse over the main points. It is up to your effort to find more points with regard to each heads which we have discussed. Okay, let us discuss about the further in the next one.